Neoliberalism is an economic ideology that emphasizes the role of the market in allocating resources and minimizing state intervention in economic affairs. While proponents of neoliberalism argue that it promotes individual freedom and economic growth, critics point to its many shortcomings, particularly with regards to social justice and equity. One way in which neoliberalism falls short is its failure to account for the ways in which identity categories, such as race, gender, and sexuality, intersect with economic inequality. This is where identity politics comes in. However, identity politics can also be co-opted and weaponized by the state to further oppress the very people it claims to represent. For example, neoliberal policies often rely on individualized solutions to social problems, such as education and job training programs, rather than systemic changes that address structural inequality. Identity politics can place a disproportionate burden on marginalized communities organize around who may lack access to the resources necessary to fight for their rights and recognition. Moreover, neoliberalism often prioritizes the interests of the global elite over those of the working class, particularly in the global south. This can exacerbate existing social and economic inequalities and lead to the exploitation of vulnerable populations. For example, neoliberal policies often lead to the privatization of public services such as healthcare and education, which can limit access to these essential services for those who cannot afford to pay for them. Another shortcoming of neoliberalism is its failure to address the root causes of social and economic inequality, such as systemic racism and sexism. Instead, neoliberal policies often seek to address the symptoms of inequality, rather than the underlying causes. This can perpetuate the marginalization of marginalized communities and further entrench existing power structures. In conclusion, while neoliberalism may promote individual freedom and economic growth, it falls short when it comes to promoting social justice and equity. Identity politics can be an important tool for marginalized communities to fight for their rights and recognition, but it can also be co-opted and weaponized by the state to further oppress these very communities. Therefore, any discussion of neoliberalism must take into account the ways in which it intersects with identity politics and the potential for these intersections to perpetuate social and economic inequality.